disappointment in South Florida. The hip-hop mogul hosted a giveaway, but some people left saying they didn't get what they expected. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live in Miami with the story. Roy.
Yeah, Nicole, you may remember that there were thousands of people who arrived out here to this Overtown neighborhood hoping to get those gift cards and cash. And while many of them did, there were some who didn't exactly get what they were expecting. Thousands of people gathering outside the House of Wings in Overtown Tuesday for a gift giveaway organized by local leaders, community activists, and even hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. This cell phone video showing Diddy with a stack of cash in hand as he passed out bills to local residents.
Yeah, I just got the $50. That's all I really wanted.
Yeah. And did you get that in cash or you got a gift
card? In cash.
This wasn't COVID-19 Relief Act dollars. This didn't come from the state of Florida. It didn't come from Miami-Dade County or the city of Miami. It came from a philanthropist's heart.
But not everyone received that money. Latarcia Brown told me she waited in line for 7 hours, and while she did receive a gift bag, she said it was not what she was expecting.
Sweetheart, my husband ate these on the streets. However, two things. Crayons, no gift card, no rent paid.
Brown, who lives at home with her two elderly parents and her granddaughter, told me she received her gift bag before Diddy arrived, but was hoping to receive something more to help in her time of need. When she told an organizer there was no gift card in her bag,
the lady told me, if you got a gift bag, you need to go.
Brown claims the giveaway wasn't organized and attendees should have been advised there was a chance they wouldn't receive what they were expecting. So I spoke with one of the event organizers, Miami-Dade County Commissioner Keon Hardiman, to find out why some were given cash and gift cards and others were not.
I was aware that there were some people that were upset because they didn't get a gift card. That was inadvertent. It wasn't intentional.
And I also got a chance to speak to the owner of House of Wings. He tells me he has been in contact with that woman and already given her a gift card. As for the commissioner, he tells me that his office is also in the process of getting in contact with Brown to see how he can help. For now, here in the Overtown neighborhood of Miami, Roy Ramos, Local 10 News.
That's just an example of we don't have it. You know, we don't have it. We're frozen out. And it kind of goes with what's going on in Michigan, at least Southeast Michigan right now. Reason I'm making this video right now because we're stuck. You know, there's an ice storm going on. Cars are covered. You can't go anywhere. But that's kind of life for Black Americans right now. You know, many Black Americans are stuck right now waiting for their stimulus check. You know, many are waiting for jobs to call them. Many are waiting to know if they're gonna get evicted. And, you know, these type of efforts, and that's all I can really call them is efforts, because I really don't know the foundational meaning. When someone like Sean Combs goes out and hands out $50 bills, and the House of Wings in Miami gives out gift cards, and they give out gift bags, and you hear the lady, you know, there was no money in the gift bag, there was no gift card in the gift bag, there was toothpaste, you know, there were toothbrushes, you know, probably donated by, you know, other companies, and they made gift bags. But people need resources now, and they don't just need $50. They don't just need a $50 gift card. They need tangible resources, transformative resources, reparations. I mean, you know, I'm not afraid to say the word reparations, even though I try not to go right there, because that puts so many people off. And, you know, oh, how would we do that? Y'all don't need to worry about that at this point. It's the first day of the year. I'm definitely not going to be just talking about it today. But when I do talk about it, I want to bring up certain items, because here in Miami, well, they're in Miami. I'm not in Miami. Kind of wish I was in Miami right now, but I'm not in Miami. In Miami, I believe the median Black family, you know, especially the poorest neighborhoods, especially, they're somewhere between $100, $150, if I'm not mistaken, net worth. Net worth. You know, Boston, it's $8. LA, it's 200. You know, across the country, it's 1,700. So you got to have some real highs to go from Boston at 800 to have a median at 1,700. You got to have some extreme highs. Not a lot, but there's some extreme highs to get there. And people don't realize that we don't have it. They don't realize where we're going to be in a year, 2 years from now if we don't do things politically. See, this has nothing to do with getting Trump out of office. Things were fucked up before Trump. So Trump didn't do anything to make them better for Black Americans. So now things are going to get progressively worse. And I know everybody was anybody but Trump, and I was no fan of his, nor did I vote for him. But this country was screwed up for Black Americans well before Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't do any more damage to us than Barack Obama did for 8 years. And people don't want to talk about that. What's happening, Sue? People don't want to talk about that. You know, people just want to look at the guise of Barack Obama and they don't want to crack that armor. Well, I've cracked that armor and I've broke that down. I mean, Barack looked good. He sounded good. Beautiful family, dog, no scandals. But what did he do? What did he do? He was the, you know, high tides raises all boats president. When Black people's boats either have holes, termites, hell, and that's if we have a boat. Most of us don't have a boat. So when they say that high tide raises all boats, how is that? Because we all don't have boats. And all Black people can't swim. So I don't know exactly what Diddy was trying to do when he went out and started handing out $50 bills with his Biggie Smalls-esque Coogee sweater. And I'm sure several $100s, maybe $1,000 pair of linen or silk or whatever type of trousers he had on him. He looked like Diddy. And I guess that's what he's supposed to look like. When he's out there, he's going to look like Diddy. He's going to have the Diddy glasses on. He's going to have the Diddy apparel on. He's going to be Diddy. And he's handing out 50s to people who need thousands, to people who need policy. They really need policy. You could start them with the thousands, but they're not going to get the thousands. They're not even going to get the 600. Anybody that's waiting on that 600, it's already earmarked for some bills. And nobody gets that. Well, some get it, but other people try to avoid it. Some people left a job to go on Christmas break, and they're not going to have that job when they go back. They may keep them for a little bit, but that company's already rearranging. And some different things are going to happen, and they're going to downsize. This is happening right now. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It really has nothing to do with this stimulus bill that they've decided to grant people. $1.64 a day. $1.64 a day. That's what they're giving you. That's what they get. I mean, when you look at that, $1.64 a day. You almost are waiting for Sally Struthers to fucking pop out. Remember, for 39 cents a day, you can feed this kid. Now it's $1.64 a day. Yeah. That's where we're at in America. That's where we're at. And if you take the whole stimulus bill that they gave everybody for the year, because see, some people got their money, but a lot of people are into the new year and they didn't get that money before the 31st. So you take the people that got the 600 and they got the 1200, you got about 480 a day. Less than lunch money. You show me a lunch you can buy for $4.80 out here. And that's what the United States government decided to give you during COVID. $4.80 some odd cents a day. Now, for Black people, we have to know this is where we are. This is where we are. Anybody else out here moving, we know how some people are not going to be affected at all. And what it looks like with this new presidential administration, they're really got their heels dug in on fast tracking immigrants to become citizens. Right now, you don't have jobs and resources for Americans right now. American descendants of slavery, American descendants of freedmen. You don't have resources for people whose bones are buried here, but you're trying to fast track people to get citizenship, to come get jobs, to come get residency, to come get all the resources that you don't even give to people that are Americans right now. But it was anybody but Trump. It was anybody but Trump. No, I don't agree with detainment. No, I don't agree with kids being separated from their family. No, I didn't agree with the wall. But it's kind of hard to knock somebody that says, you know what? These are American jobs. These jobs are supposed to be for Americans. It's kind of hard to knock that because I truly believe that if you're an American, you do deserve to have a job. Versus someone who fled another territory and can come here and will work for less money, maybe money not taxable, because how can you tax someone who fled another country? You got no social security number. They have no real ID here. So they work under the table, under the radar. All while Black people just are going under. And it's not just Diddy's fault. It's a lot of people who put that facade on that everything is just okay out here. Everything's good. Everything's fine. And I don't understand that. How can everything be good? How can everything be fine? It can't be. People don't have it. They've decided to put millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into foreign territory, yet and still Flint, Michigan still has brown water. How is that? How come Flint, Michigan isn't a part of the COVID bill? If you're giving out money to foreign territories, if you're preserving all types of fish, why can't Flint get some of that money to fix their water? Why is that not being talked about? Kamala came here and went to Flint. Now, she went to a barber shop. I don't know what the hell that had to do with real politics. Because she wasn't like she was getting a fade. She didn't have Simone Sanders with her. She wasn't getting tightened up. I don't know why Kamala was going around to Black barbershops other than symbolism. Why not? Send the Black VP candidate to Black barbershops. Pacify the Negroes. Pacify them. And that's what they did. That's what they did. I was listening to something earlier, and this brother's obviously gone on and he's made hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. Hell, I think Isaiah was part owner of the CBA or something. But it was, to hear him talk, and it reminds me of something. We were cleaning up the DVR, and Rach was like, why do you need the 1981 Indiana basketball thing recorded? And it's mainly because of Isaiah. I mean, my fondness for Zeke, you know, him being in Indiana and what he did there, and then coming here and playing his career in Detroit. I've always been loyal to Zeke, and I've always really stood up for him. He's made some bonehead ass comments and different things and whatever, and did some different things during his career, but I've always tried to ride with him because Zeke was loyal. Zeke could have bitched after the first couple seasons and shit and been like, look, I want up out of here. But he stayed loyal because that's how he was rooted. He was loyal. His mother was a loyal woman, and Zeke was a loyal man. Whatever happened later in his career and after his playing career, that happened. But I'm talking about being a businessman, being a basketball player, being a man. Zeke was down. So I was listening to this. It was an interview he did with Shannon Sharp. Crazy shit. Just to listen where he came from. I knew he was poor. I knew he was, an interview talked about how he didn't have no lights. And when Bobby Knight came there to recruit him, they had to do the meeting during the day. He had to do all his recruiting meetings during the day because they didn't have no lights. I mean, we take this shit for granted. We take all this for granted that we have electricity. Somebody who ended up being one of the best basketball players ever when he was in high school and earlier, they had no lights. So he went from less than zero. See, when you ain't got no lights, you're not a zero. You're less than zero. You're under the radar. You're not dwelling just at the bottom. You're not a bottom cast. You are under the radar. Sorry about that. But I just want you to hear where he came from, because this is damn near where we're gonna be if we don't do something about what we've got going on right now.
Time that you went to college, was your father alive?
My father was alive. Now, the interesting thing about my father, my mother, and my father, and again, you know, people who were coming up in the 60s, you will know this. You know, so we had to go on welfare. Mm-hmm. So when you go on welfare, I mean, the U.S. government was really breaking up your family because the man couldn't be inside the household.
Right.
And so my father had to leave so we can get on welfare, get the welfare check, and then they started having tension and everything else. But my mom, my dad in Indiana, he did not like me playing basketball.
Okay.
My father didn't like nothing about entertainment. My father was everything about books, learning, getting educated, because this is the way you're going to make it in this world.
Right.
Son, if you think you're going to make it in this world bouncing a basketball, that's not how you're going to make it. You're not going to be, you know, and his beliefs was, you know, entertainment, you know, wasn't the door or the avenue for you to make it. It was right. Education. And those were his beliefs.
Isaiah, the reason why I ask you that, because I don't know how many people know this, but we know this because we come from black families. The older brother took on the role as the father if the father wasn't in the house. And because you said your older brother had this conversation, that let me know, okay, when the father was absent, he's the man of the house. He took on that responsibility.
Yes, he did. And even though, and it's well documented, you know, my brothers after the Vietnam War, everybody fell into, you know, heroin and cocaine. Mm-hmm. And my brothers, you know, a couple of them died, you know, one of them had HIV. And, you know, so it was a very difficult time during that period of time. But the messages that they were always giving me
right
during their hard times was, hey, don't do what we're doing.
Right.
You can do something else. And Shannon, I'll never forget, now you got me going down memory lane. Because when we're talking about my brothers, everybody got the hand-me-downs.
Right. Oh, yes.
Being the youngest, right?
Oh, you got 3-4 deep hand-me-down.
3-4 deep. But I couldn't fit my brother's clothes. So you know whose clothes I could fit?
Your
My sister's clothes.
I got my sister's clothes.
So you button up on the left side too?
I'm wearing a jean. And we knew, man, those are girl jeans. So I'm having to fire on people in elementary and junior high because they talk about I'm wearing girl jeans. So I got to fire on them. I say I ain't got no choice.
That's how I got good with my hands. That's how I was like, okay, well. On graduation day, I had on my sister's black patent leather boots. Right? And I had on her flowered red blouse with a hood on the back. And I had on her Providence St. Mail blazer. that was my graduation outfit in 8th grade.
I mean, I can sit here and laugh at that because both of those men have went on and made millions. But I listened to that interview and just heard different things, and he summed up ADOS life. He summed up ADOF life. I mean, welfare. Welfare totally tore up the black family. You could get assistance, but you couldn't get assistance with the man in the house. You couldn't make your family stronger. We can just make sure you're fed. You didn't really make them solvent. See, actually keeping that black man in the house would have made you maybe not solvent. But here's the thing, the kids have the balance. They have a strong father figure in the house regularly. But the way the government set it up said, no. Black men can't be a part of you getting these benefits. So if you want these benefits, your husband, man in your life, these children's father cannot reside here. And I still don't know what sense that makes in the grand scheme of things if you're really saying all men are created equal. Because if all men are created equal, and these people need this, because this is in the 60s, so this is 100 years after slavery's over. And you've created these welfare programs because people have been brutalized with Jim Crow. Reconstruction. I mean, we don't even really talk about redlining in this situation like that. Isaiah Thomas's family was in the projects. They were redlined, but they were in the projects. His family didn't get a house until Isaiah got an MBA. But all of the things, the war took his brothers out of the home, took them overseas, got them hooked on dope. When they came back, they weren't war heroes. They were heroin addicted zeros. This is really the way the government functioned for black people. You go overseas to kill somebody that knows nothing about you, that doesn't hate you. That's this government fighting government, but they sent them black boys over there to either get killed or addicted to dope. And that's what happened. And they came back here. They might have been strong role models for Zeke before they went over there, but when they came back, they really weren't shit. The best thing they did was just kept him out of it. There was a part of the interview too that he talked about how his brother was about to go outside. His brother was about to go outside with Bobby Knight. He's like, we can take this outside. You don't hear about these stories. And he's like, when Bobby Knight stood up, he was like a roach, crawled right across the wall, right behind him. And you got to think, Zeke's brother's trying to help him out. Bobby Knight's trying to help him out. His father's told him, I don't want you to do this. Who made that decision that Zeke went to Indiana University? His mama. His mama made that decision because she said, my boy's got to get up out of here. Zeke was small. I mean, we all know back then Zeke was diminutive. Big on the court, big little man. But the hood would have took him out. It would have took him out. He wasn't cut like that. All his brothers and sisters that did all that work. He wasn't cut like that. She was like, he got to get out of here. And she made the decision for him to go to Indiana. Then Zeke goes and wins the championship. Then he goes to the NBA and the rest is history. But his daddy didn't want him to do it because his daddy didn't think that basketball was profitable like that, was going to be beneficial like that, because he had been trained what? You got to get an education. And that's still very much today, because every kid ain't going to be an Isaiah Thomas. Every kid ain't going to be a Johnny Thomas. And I don't even know who Johnny Thomas is. But Johnny Thomas is out there and he's getting close to being an NBA, but he ain't going to make it. He ain't going to make it overseas, but he's trying. And then I look at Zeke had everything. He had everything going for him. And even and the brothers that did survive the madness, they still had drug habits through Zeke's playing career. The one thing that I love seeing is how Zeke took care of his mother. You know, whenever they'd show Mary Thomas, whenever she was on camera, back when Zeke was younger, you know, always showed her draped, fur coat, this, that, and the other. Zeke got her a big house, bam, bam, bam. He did everything he was supposed to do. He took care of his family. But that's one man out of millions that was able to do that. But America is going to feed you that line that you can do it. You can do it too. You can do. Look, man, there's 30 NFL teams. I think there's 30 NBA teams. And let's just say there's 30 Major League Baseball teams. So there's 90 professional sports franchises. 90. Maybe 100. Gets close to 100. When you're talking the ability to play at a high level, you might be talking a college scholarship. But when you're talking about going all the way to the next level, it's in the millions that you make it. It's in the millions. Sometimes I feel like you have a better chance of winning the lottery than making it onto a professional sports franchise. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's all about civil rights. See, we get so caught up in being accepted. And acceptance gives us nothing. Access gives us everything. But there's a lot of people that just don't understand. Some people think that when they're accepted by the dominant society, they have access, and they don't have access. And to hear me talk like this, a lot of Caucasian people think that I'm always complaining. But see, I'm not complaining because I'm moving. The only reason I'm doing this video right now is because I'm fucking frozen in. Because if I wasn't frozen in, I'd be working right now. I'd be moving. I'd be doing something. Everybody don't have that opportunity to even try to do that. But do I take 5,000, 6,000 pounds and put it out there on the road and possibly hurt myself, hurt someone else, hurt a family? Or do I just wait it out? Because the shit ain't gonna last longer than 12 hours. It's going to heat up enough. It'll melt. I can be able to get back on the road, feel good about myself. Because I don't give a shit if you got 8-wheel drive. ICE don't give a fuck. ICE rules out here. I slid down my driveway in house shoes. I'm not going anywhere. So I could potentially hurt myself today to where I'm out of the paint for the first 3 months of the year. I mean, why do that? Why put yourself in that position? Professional athletes, entertainers, Anybody that is performance based can help us. They may be able to speak on our behalf when we're talking about real politics, but they can't help us. They can't be our saviors. You can't have people like Diddy out here handing out $50 bills. You got somebody that's a billionaire. Supposedly he's a billionaire, and he's handing out $50 bills to one of the lowest income areas in the country, to the point that they found the woman. They had to find that one. She needed rental assistance. She needed food assistance. She needed all kinds of shit. And all she got was a gift bag with some toothpaste and some toothbrushes in it. And they told her, if you got a gift bag, you gotta go. Because they didn't want no trouble. And the person who puts on the event, if you listen to it, he had an accent. He looked like a black man. He damn near sounded like a black man until they made him talk a little bit more. And I'm like, whoa, he's something, but he ain't ADOS. He ain't ADOF. And what we found out too about Mr. Combs, he ain't ADOS or ADOF. He blacker than a motherfucker, but he got some Caribbean in him. And it's unfortunate because they don't take this serious. And I hold him to a higher standard because right before the election, he said he wanted to start a whole new political party. Black people needed to start a whole new political party. Soon as the election was over, we ain't heard shit from Diddy. Nothing. He ain't said nothing about starting no political party since the election. He didn't even say anything like when the election was in limbo. He said it before. And once he started that fire, that useless fire, that fruitless fire, he walked away. Him and Charlemagne walked away into the sunset in his palatial estate. I mean, they put on this big show to talk about a new political party, not knowing the first thing about starting a political party. But they got 1 million views on YouTube, got 1 million views on IG. See, that's dumb shit. And that's what they hem us up on. We putting our faith in Diddy. We putting our faith in Charlemagne. But then y'all canceling Ice Cube. Y'all canceling Cube. It's crazy to me. And Cube's not our savior. Cube just happens to be speaking sensibly on our behalf and trying to hook up with political figures to get things done. Gone, free. Pew, gone. You can't be a performer and help the masses, because what they'll do to you is they'll take your ability to perform away from you. And now you got to do something to get that money back. You can't live off in a multi-million-dollar house, have several $100,000 cars and say, I'm going to do what I want to do, unless you flat out done and you ready to just retire. Like Cube said, I'm a big boy. I can handle this. Whatever they bring to me, he was like, I'm going to be good. I think Cube's going to be good. I think overall, maybe Cube is in a better position than Diddy. Maybe Cube's in a better position than Jay-Z. Maybe Cube's in a better position than a lot of these people out here talking like they got it. Because Cube is full-throated right now. And he says, I want to talk to everybody in power. It's the only reason he talked to Trump's people, because Trump was in power. He wanted to talk to Biden and Kamala, but they told him to wait till after the election. They gave him the arrogant stance of saying, you wait till after the election. That was basically telling him, we guaranteeing a victory. We'll talk to you afterwards. What if they didn't win the election? Would they have still wanted to talk to Ice Cube? See, that's what you got to understand. They setting us up for failure one way or the other. You want to talk to Cardi B, you want to talk to Lizzo, you want to talk to Billy Porter, you want to talk to all these people that don't do shit but make a fucking ass out of black society. But you don't want to talk to somebody that's actually talking right. Kamala gets on some Zoom call with all these little celebrities and shit. They wanted Ice Cube to be a part of that. He don't want to be a part of y'all motherfucking Zoom calls. He didn't want to be a part of a photo op. He was trying to get real things done. And I commend him for that. I commend him for that. I don't believe that entertainers can be our saviors, but they can use their platforms to do the right thing. They know, Cube knows goddamn well who gave him that money in the 80s, in the 90s. Cube really didn't start getting that white money until he started doing them movies. Yeah, white people was buying the NWA records. But they made their stake off of black culture, off of black people. Cube knows that. And he's still rooted in that. And he got fucked over by the dominant society in his craft, so he understood. They tried to work him on his bread. They tried to work him on his bread. And he got it right. Because he understood, I can't stand on this stage forever rapping. I need to do something else. Hence, Cube Vision, Friday franchises, branching out, doing other acting roles, getting outside of those characters of NWA. I've got to build a brand so my family can eat, because I'm the one. Now, it's crazy that he spat out a kid who looks just like him, and now he's following in his footsteps on the acting side, but his son ain't no rapper. His son's got to act and get that bread. He'll take over the Cube empire, I'm sure. But Cube was that one in his family. And unfortunately, every single black American family don't have an Ice Cube, don't have a Diddy, don't have a Jay-Z, don't have any of those people that can do what they need to do. So generational wealth isn't there. And the reason we're not in a better position, it's not because we didn't work hard last year, the year before, the year before that, the year before that. It's because 155 years after slavery, what they've done to us. And this is where white people say, oh man, you just complaining. You're always complaining. You know, look, I'm not complaining, like I said. I'm just speaking facts. Some people don't like that truth. I talked about this before. Some people love a lie. They love a lie. See, everybody right now, they blaming all these other people for not getting a bigger stimulus check, when in fact, it was the Democrats who kept everybody from getting that $2,000. Why? Because they want to reach across the aisle. They want to be nice. They want to be congenial. The Republicans don't give a fuck. When they're ready to make a decision, they make a decision. They don't reach across shit. If they reach anywhere, they reach to wipe their ass and they throw it over to the Democrats. But the Democrats always want to reach across the aisle. We want to work with you. The Republicans don't work with nobody. They work with themselves. They work with money. But no, the Democrats always want to link arms and be kumbaya. Don't nobody want to link arms with y'all no more. Joe Biden let 34 million black Americans down when he said, hey, you better get used to working with these Latinos because they're about to be more than you over here. And what he's talking about is that fast tracking the citizenship. Because once they get them all in, and get them all ID'd and socialed up and everything, there will be more of them than there are American descendants of slavery, American descendants of freedmen. There will be more. There will be more. Then what we do? Then what we do? He said, you better get used to working for him. Yeah. Ain't no point of us thinking about working with them. We'll be working for them. If there's more of them, who do you think they're going to put in supervisory roles? Who do you think they're going to put in managerial roles? If there's more of them, they'll put their people in positions of power so they can bring in more of their people, thus pushing you out. You're always going to be a bottom caste unless we get redress. We're going to be a bottom caste. It's not going to happen magically. It doesn't happen with a political party. It doesn't happen just because we keep voting in unison and getting nothing but a sticker. It happens with real policy. It happens with a full schedule of reparations. That's the only way. Something else I listened to, man. What else did I listen to? Oh, so it was kind of a rehash, you know. I dropped interview I had with the newly elected 14B District Court Judge, Sister Elaine Washington from Ann Arbor, Michigan. You know, I think she starts next week, takes the bench. Only the third Black woman to ever be a judge in Washtenaw County. Still crazy to me, but it is. And we got to protect her. We got to protect people that serve us. I'm not just saying Black politicians in general, because there's a lot of Black politicians out there that ain't protecting us, that ain't serving us. And we calling their ass too. See, everybody seems to be just kind of waiting till the inauguration. Well, I know with local politics, we really don't have to wait till the 20th. But I figure we get everybody through the holidays, let everybody get going, do their thing, get all fat off the turkey and dressing and all that stuff. But then when they hit the ground running on Monday, we've got to be aligned. People in Michigan, I don't want to talk to you if you're not talking about doing something better for yourself. I don't want to talk. I don't want to deal with you. Why? Because I don't have to. I don't have to. I'm willing to work with people. And if I have to work with people that are out of state, I'll work with people that are out of state. I prefer to work in my village with people. But if everybody don't want to get together, that's okay. Because see, I know everybody going to jump in line when things do start happening, when policy does start getting pushed through, when redress does start happening. I know everybody going to get in line for that, just like everybody's getting in line for these stimulus checks. But see, getting in line for a stimulus check, if you got the 12 and you're getting the 6, you're going to take that $4.80 some odd cents a day. You're going to take that and struggle versus fight politically, because there ain't no getting in the streets and fighting. I mean, all that shit, you know, blowing out windows and looting stores and all that. You ain't doing nothing but pleasing yourself momentarily, possibly getting arrested, most likely getting beat up. Reparations. I'm not running through a broken glass window so I can get me some fucking gym shoes. There's no redress there. There's no transformative wealth there. And if you're not talking about doing the right things by your people, I'm not talking to you. Time's out for fuck shit. I don't need to deal with it. And I realize a lot of you ain't going because you think you got something better planned, but you don't even have a plan B. Your plan A is shaky and you don't have a plan B. So I'm good with it. It's fucked up when you can talk to people. I can talk to Caucasian people, they understand it. I can talk to Asian people, they understand it. Talk to Jewish people, they understand it. But you talk to Black people, they go, well, how would they do it, man? How would they give us this? Really? You want to ask me how the United States government's going to do it the same way they gave you that fucking stimulus check? Same way they give tax refunds to people that just have kids. But when we start talking about policy and I mean, education, if a Black child is qualified to go to a university in this country, they shouldn't pay. And we should have somebody fighting for that based on the premise that nobody other than Black Americans in this country have ever been threatened and or been killed because of the ability to read. Show me another country where they've done that. Murdered you, or you lived under the threat of violence if you learned how to read. That's mental oppression. That's physical oppression. That's spiritual oppression. Pass the bill. Qualify for college, you can go. Yeah. And then once you get in there, then you do your thing. Then you start qualifying for other stuff. You start doing your thing. See, I think about this because they want to talk about canceling student loan debt. Well, less than 1 out of 5 Black Americans has even been to college. So if you cancel student loan debt, okay. So 18 out of 100 people get their student loan debt canceled. How many out of that 18, let's say, graduated and are in a fruitful career that degree produced? Hell, I know people with college degrees that work at the grocery store. And that ain't no disrespect. They managers. They fucking managers at the grocery store. Sam's Club. Fucking college graduate. College, okay. So they trying to pay their student loans off working at Sam's Club. Okay, pay their student loans off, man. Better yet, find them a job that their degree works for. Because they can work the shit out of a forklift because they work at Sam's Club, but that's not what they went to school for. I was trying to find this other thing that I was listening to. Oh, yeah. So I was talking about Irene. We got to protect her. We got to protect our political figures that are out here that are doing the right things. And I came across a video when they was talking to Terry Crews about Gabrielle Union and his lack of understanding that he was actually being set up. Al Roker was on one end, and then I forgot the other brother that was, and I'm gonna call him brother loosely, in the middle, but Terry Crews is on the right. So it was like Al, white lady, I think, and let me look. I'm trying to get the setting right here. Hold on a second. I think it was Al, white lady, black dude, white lady, then Terry Crews. Hold on a second. Where was that at? Somebody just hit me on Messenger. Hold on one second. Yeah. So it's maybe she's black. So there's two. There's a Al, black woman, looks like she's black, and then a black dude, and then white lady, and then Terry Crews. So basically, he was set up to put the fire out for America's Got Talent or whatever the shit is. And he didn't even understand that he was being set up. But if he did understand that he was being set up, he basically took the payoff. He took the payoff because some people get, Terry likes to throw out that he's from Flint, Michigan. I mentioned Flint earlier. Terry likes to throw out that he's from Flint, Michigan, but it's been a long time since Terry been to Flint. You don't hear Terry even talk about the Flint water crisis. Terry should be a crusader for the Flint water crisis. Flint should see Terry maybe every quarter. Every quarter. They don't see Terry. They see Rasheed Wallace. They see Steven Jackson. They see other athletes, but they don't see Terry Crews, who always likes to talk. You talking about a brother from Flint, Michigan. You spot where you're from, but you don't do shit for the people where you're from. See, those people need to be canceled, not people like Ice Cube. But when he did, I just really want you to hear, and I call him Terry Cruising because I used to call him something else, but I ain't even gonna give him that term because that term has become too generic. But I'm gonna call him Terry Cruising because Terry Crews is the same guy that let a man grab his manhood, full-throated, grab, and did nothing about it. Did nothing about it. Because I believe he's comfortable being accepted in white society, in white America, in white Hollywood, and he don't want to lose his space. He knows he's there of the thinnest of threads. And it's so crazy to me that he talked about, just listen, shit.
I can't speak for sexism because I'm not a woman, but I can't speak on behalf of any racism comments. That was never my experience on America's Got Talent. In fact, it was the most diverse place I have ever been in my 20 years of entertainment.
Brothers can't afford to get too comfortable, you know, because that's when you become the porn. That's when they use you as. Anytime white people want to smooth some shit over, they go get that rich nigga and put you on TV to represent the people, you know. You have you asking questions like,
Damon, now that you made this $13 million, and we're not counting, now that you made all this money, let me ask you this, let me just throw this out at you. You respond any way you want. Is there racism in America?
you be sitting there thinking about that paycheck, talking about, no sir. If there is, I ain't seen none.
And that's Terry Crews. I mean, it was funny when Damon said, I watched that stand-up when he said that originally back in the day. But that's Terry Crews. He literally said, let me put this fire out. They fired her because of sexism. They fired her because of racism. And he sat right there and said, as a man, I can't speak on sexism. Motherfucker, somebody grabbed your junk. How can you not speak on sexism? Racism, and it's the most diverse situation you've ever been in. Terry Crews was in a weird ass movie back in the day. And it wasn't one of the Friday movies. You know, he got a lot of his come up with the Friday movies and being the bully and all that stuff, the gay bully from prison. What was that movie? And did he become president or something? It was really weird. Very diverse cast. He was with white people. America's Got Talent is probably a white set mostly. Might be a few people of color. But for the most part, Terry is the black guy. So him to say this was the most diverse atmosphere he's been in 20 plus years, why would he lie like that? He knows he's been a part of projects where he was either the only black guy or he was the big black guy. We need a weightlifting guy. We need a strong guy. We need an athletic guy. You know this is the most diverse. Come on, man. It was like he was reading their fucking mission statement, and it was embarrassing. It was insulting. It was appalling. And that was a while ago. But when I think about that, I think about these politicians that are out here that they want to be politicians for everybody. They're black. They want to be everybody's politician, but they come hard for that black vote. See, when you come hard for the black vote, you're supposed to come hard with some black policy. You can't give me the same policy that you give everybody else. Because, see, the policies for Latinos don't work for me. You got them earmarked for Latinos. There's certain policies for Americans that don't work for me. We don't qualify. The only stuff that really we qualify for is when you look like you giving us a handout. They start talking about all this shit and Joe Biden's Lift Every Voice and Sing Act, we're going to help our minority businesses. We're going to help all the minority businesses, not black owned, not black owned. When they threw Black Lives Matter, just the phrase of Black Lives Matter in the Lift Every Voice Act, you had to know there was some shit in the game. Now that you know about Black Lives Matter, because see, a lot of people didn't know about Black Lives Matter before the Lift Every Voice Act. Most black people did, though. Most black people did. And they knew something was wrong with Black Lives Matter, and that's why they weren't fucking with it. And, you know, I would always get picked like, how come you don't do this? How come you don't? No. I understand that Black lives do matter, but I don't have to walk through the street with a store-bought sign or a sign that you might have got off their website. You're enriching them. They're doing nothing for us. What am I doing here? And we're just marching back and forth, and at the end, we're going to do the cha-cha slide and all that bullshit. What are we going to really get done here? How many politicians were any of those marches in Washtenaw County during the election cycle? And you put pressure on anybody that was up for election for black policy. How many? I'm not talking about people of color. I'm not talking about minorities. I'm talking about black Americans. And when we just went to the polls in August, and then we went to the polls in November just to get a sticker, we got the nerve to sit around and bitch about whether a $600 check is going to be a $2,000 check or a $2,000 check is going to be enough because we hadn't. Come on, man. Could have changed a lot of that on that local cycle in the primary season and scared some of them damn politicians going into November. But nah, everybody was just anybody but Trump, man. Anybody but Trump. Got to get Trump out of it. Anybody but Trump. Anybody but Trump. When Trump was the one pushing for the 2 Gs. Not endorsing Trump, not agreeing with Trump. The fact is, America cares more about Asian carp than they care about black Americans. They care about fish preservation. Fish preservation. They care about foreign territories more than they care about black Americans. And it's unfortunate that black Americans don't even care enough to stand up for themselves to fight this system. It's fucked up. It really is. It's day 1/1/21. So we're going to talk a little bit more about redress, recompense, reparation, restorative justice, reparative justice. We're going to talk about this shit a lot. We're just not ready to fight the right way. We only want to fight for the next hour, maybe for the next day. We need to be fighting for the next decade. We took 8 years off. Then we were just put on the sideline for 4 years. So we've had 12 years of doing nothing out here. Literally, we've absolutely done nothing for 12 years. I just don't know. I just don't know. What's up, Tyrone? I don't know what we're going to do if we're not going to fend for ourselves politically. I don't know what we're going to do if we're not going to stop debating how can it be done? How can it be done? You think they worry about how they do things for other groups? They put a 5,500-page bill together that absolutely no one read, and it passed. Reparations could be written on a fucking sticky note. If you did 5,500 there, we can tell you exactly what we need. This is it. This is us. Not black people, American descendants of slavery, American descendants of freedmen. Everybody else is out here talking about, what is it, ADOS, European descendants of slavery? Get the fuck out of here. CDOS, Caribbean descendants of slavery? Get the fuck out of here. You're not owed shit on this territory. Let me tell you. And I'm no expert, but I know that. If your great-grandfather's bones ain't buried here, get the fuck out of here with your restorative justice claim on this territory. Period. You're not owed anything here. If you're here and you're a citizen now, you are owed, civil liberties and things like that. But you're not owed restorative justice. That doesn't happen. That doesn't just happen because you got over here, because you fled from another territory. Because if I flee from this territory, I'm gonna go to Africa, be like, man, y'all sent my people over to America 400 years. I want my reparations. They'd look at me like I was a plum ass fool. So all these black people talking about going to Ghana. Going to Ghana. So you're gonna go to one of the last stops before they decide to come over here. Why? They the ones that sold you. They helped you onto the boat or kicked you and pushed you, whatever the fuck they did to get you on. Yeah, I hear there's a lot of people that say, oh man, I love it over here. I love it over here. Okay, they didn't have shit. They didn't have shit. They took a trek. They didn't have shit over here, obviously. Because there's been people that have left here and went over there and got murdered. Murdered. Lived good lives over here. Absolutely. But went over there and got murdered. Why? Because we're not them. And they're not us. Why do people come here in masses and people from this country don't go to other territories in masses? Resources, resources, resources. Speaking to a brother earlier today. And this ain't to show no disrespect to nobody, because y'all already know. I mean, I upped them. I upped them a couple of days on my videos, got my videos silenced and had to fight to get the audio back on them, and did a breakfast with Lulu, did a grits and groove and dedicated to Houdini. I mean, Brother John Fletcher, rest in peace. That was a brother who put over 40 years into the game, into music, into making us happy with his music. I know they've been long from making current records, but Houdini was touring and doing all kinds of stuff these last several years. But they have made a ton of money for Jive Records. They have made a ton of money for Sony Music. A ton of money. And to hear that brother's family had to put a GoFundMe together to put on his funeral services. Reparations. You got over 40 years, and you do 40 years working at the auto plant, you will at least retire with a life benefit. It's mandatory. You got money to bury yourself. But if you go out here and rap and sing and dance for 40 years, the very record company that signed you to that first deal, second deal, third deal, whatever, they never put nothing in order for your family in case you met an untimely death that you could get buried. And then I looked up the person who started Jive Records, and he's worth $5 billion. But Ecstasy's family had to get a GoFundMe to put on his funeral services. And you motherfuckers don't want to fight? This man did one thing for 40 years, and his family had to put a GoFundMe together to get him a casket. Now, some people say, oh, what did they do with their money? That's bad money management. Fuck all that. You know how many people that they took care of over 20, 30 of them years probably? Nobody had to do shit. Nobody was saying shit when money was rolling in. But the record company themselves should have had the responsibility to the Fletchers. When they heard about his death, they should have called and said, what can we do to take care of this? Now, I know Jive Records ain't around no more. Sony Music is, and that's who holds all the motherfucking money. But the dude who signed him to the goddamn record label, He's worth $5 billion. And Ecstasy's family couldn't even buy him a casket. See, I understand why people don't like listening to what I say, when I say it, the way I say it. But God damn it, if you don't want to hear me talking about it, jump over here and help me scream from the fucking mountaintops. Don't stand out there. And all y'all motherfuckers that's gonna end up seeing this video and shit, when y'all be trying to push me other people's content and be talking about some dumb shit, some celebrity shit, or some sports shit, eat a dick twice, nigga. I don't want to hear that shit. This is what I'm on. We on our knuckles in this bitch. We on our knuckles. And y'all motherfuckers are so dope in the fucking 90s and you don't own a house now? Come on, man. You should be the first one in line. You should be the first one in line. I'm just tired of it, man. I'm just tired of all the games, playing around, seeing people, whether it be online, on TV, in person, just thinking that we good out here. We ain't good out here, man. We ain't good out here. We got problems. And we keep putting people in power that aren't going to do anything for us. They're pushing. Georgia, they're pushing, Georgia. Okay, say the two Democrats get in there. The person who breaks the tie at that point is Kamala. Come on. Y'all pushing so she can break the tie for you? What are your chances of something good happening to you as a black person if Kamala has her finger on the button? Think about it. Yeah, I don't think the Republicans are going to do us any better. But at the end of the day, sometimes being ignored is better than being neglected. I'm just saying. Sometimes being ignored is better than being neglected. See, being ignored, act like we're not here. Then we can kind of go about and do some things that we need to do to get done. We're in the underbelly already, right? But see, when they acknowledge that we're here, they don't do shit. Benign neglect is a motherfucker. When they just passing over resources like, oh, you see all those resources, you don't get shit. To the Latinos, to the Asians, to the Native Americans. Black people don't get shit. We're right here. Kamala running for president says she gonna fucking restructure 500,000 acres of tribal land for Native Americans. Ain't nobody talked about 40 acres for black people. You take them 500,000 acres, frankly, it'd be an ownership thing for us because there ain't nobody gonna move to where that land is. But you take that 500,000 acres and you split it up into 40 million people, we get 80 acres. We double up. Y'all wouldn't even fight for that though. If it was fruitful, buildable, structured land, hell yeah, give me that shit. Give it to me. And I want all the other stuff that comes along with it too. But they're not going to do that. Why? Because we're not putting pressure on anybody to do that. People don't understand that being neglected is bad, Kimi. But you get used to being neglected and you can figure out how to move. But when you're ignored, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Benign neglect is never going to go away if we don't force it to go away. Politically, a brick through a window ain't gonna get you nowhere. Nowhere. It's amazing, man. It is amazing. We just got to figure it out. Because if we don't, they're going to figure it out for us.
By 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
One love.